Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We're going to dive right in today. I wonder how it feels to know that everything is always going to work out just fine. I think you'll find you'll still cry, be utterly overwhelmed sometimes. I sense you'll feel just as you would sitting here reading this today. It's just a present moment. Nothing here is meant to stay. You will always feel alone, and I think that's just okay. You have what you need around you, or must ask how I will cope today. In one way, it's all the same for those of us who chose this place. I wonder why we travel such great distances. Of course, if that's even how we classify our soul's journey. It's evolution through time and space. We choose this blueprint of the stars and what beam into this realm of existence. Mine feels so planned. It feels not real when I feel into the sensations of it. Feels like I don't deserve this world, and still I find ways to do it wrong. This feels so hard to try and articulate. I felt myself getting pulled into wanting to write with intended cadence and rhythm, wanting to rhyme. I want to write so poetically, so beautifully. I want the words to roll right off my tongue. I feel I have so much still to live, so much to articulate. Not saying before thee, I'm so blanking on the word, the value. There's still value intrinsically, emotionally, but I can't help feeling hope that my words may come to pass through the minds of those outside my own. I wonder when the time will come for me to take a seat upon my throne. The Queen of Cups arrives, takes us all by surprise. I desire to ground my energy very deeply in this world. I feel the most at peace while connected in with my internal world in nature, in nurture. I like to have my feet upon the ground. I like to look up and have the sun just shine down. I think I'm a closet poet. There's always been something in me that's been drawn to art and beauty and writing poetry, stories, but I've never really worked at it. I've read so many books on poetry and artistry and you know what I've gathered by the greats and the people that have published or put their work out there is that they're like, there's times where the muse speaks through you. There's times where you just have this flood of inspiration and creativity. But for the most part, especially when it's your work, you have to sit down every day and you have to stare at that page. You have to stare at that canvas and you need to put your pen down. You need to put your paintbrush down and you don't know what's going to happen. And most of the time, it's not glamorous. It's not pretty. It's not magic. But by sitting there and doing it every day, you are honing in your craft and you are focusing on your skill rather than just waiting for the inspiration to strike you. I think about a lot of the creative works and even like inventions, right? And you hear the stories of, these light bulb moments, and like that's the muse, that's the lightning, that's the divine spark, that's the inspiration. And those are the moments that like defined people in the world's eye. They're like, oh my God, they created this. This is so amazing. But what they don't see is the hours, the hours, the days of just nothing working. They don't see the ripped out pages of the story because it didn't work. They didn't see the weeks spent staring at a blank canvas. They don't see the fear and anxiety and challenges that these creatives they go through. And I think about myself, and so I'll tell you something that's haunted me for my entire life. At least this is, again, a story that I tell myself. One of the things that have haunted me is, if you grew up in the 90s and you're from Canada, I don't actually know if this is this is probably not a US thing either, but no, it's probably not. So we had this channel called PBS, and in the 90s, they had these like everything in the 90s, I guess, had these weird little commercials. And one of them was, it was like, what's your thing? And it was a bunch of kids. And it was like, so it'd be like, what's your thing? And then it would show kids. And like one of them would be like playing the tuba on the bus. And the other one someone would say bugs. And then be like him around with all of his bugs. Or like, what's your thing? Skateboarding. And it would just show all of these kids being like really interested in like their hobby. And that would haunt me because I was like, what's my thing? Like when I was a kid, I watched a lot of TV. I played a lot of sports, but like I was never like really good at it. And I was never like, I loved it, but I was never into it enough to be like, this is like my defining thing. Like I just felt like I never did anything. And then I grew older and I would think to myself, I'm like, what's your thing? And I'm like, oh, you spend a lot of time looking at houses on realtor.ca. Cool. You like to sort of decorate your house a little bit. Cool. You work a lot. Cool. I just like never had a thing. Not really. And one of the first moments I knew that there was some like spark of creativity in me was when I got my first job at the flower farm. And it was really nice being around all the beauty. I got to build bouquets and play with color. And I had a really cool phone that year. And I took some really, really cool, like artsy photos that I'm like super proud of to this day. Like they're stunning. They're probably hidden on my computer somewhere. But yeah, I started doing some photography on my phone, and I started playing with flowers, and I was like, oh, like there's something creative in me that wants to come out. And that was when I was like 19. So I'm almost 33. So that was a really long time ago. And it's been a really slow journey because I have never had any like natural aptitude, I would say. Like I can't really draw. I'm not like a beautiful artist right away. I don't know how to spell. Like my words, my sentence structure is not great most of the time. So I tend to rely on a little bit of that like divine spark when it comes in, and a lot of practice. I've now been journaling for years. I've now been playing with paint for on and off for a couple of years, but it's been fun seeing the progress in terms of me just accepting that I'm like learning and growing and just doing this for exploration more than me trying to do this for a career. I kept being like, oh, I need to, the only reason that this could have value is if this is published or if this could go up in a gallery somewhere. And that's just, that's not the case. I've come to realize that it's like you do it for you. And if you can get to a point where you can do it for financial resources, or you can share your joy, your love, your words, and it can help support people and you can make money off of it, fantastic. But like that's not the primary objective. A lot of times in my journals specifically, you'll see, I talk a lot about, is this good enough? Because I was always being like, how am I going to publish this? Like I have a goal of writing a book. I really do. I really want to. I wanted to publish poetry, but I've only finished like one poem. So I have all these ideas, but then it was like, oh, the inspiration fades and then nothing else happened. And that's all part of my learning journey and my growth as an artist and a creative, especially because it wasn't really, I want to say it wasn't nurtured when I was a kid, but like I haven't been doing this my entire life. It's been like a new thing. And that's just my path. This is part of my story. I'm interested, like, in your life, have you had any defining creative moments where you realized that even though you may not be a pro at something right away, you enjoy it enough to keep messing up and trying and getting your hands dirty with it? I'd love to know. And with that, my friends, you take care. We'll see you next time.